Good morning, free air student. I'm Mr. Tam. As the final examination, we have junior commerce exam, so I would like you to have a video for you to have revision. So let's start our revision. The first chapter we learned was entrepreneurship. And there are totally 4 characteristics of an entrepreneur that I want you to memorize to know more about it. So the first characteristics of an entrepreneur is they keen on seeking new opportunities. The second one is they desired for independence. The third one is they receptive to innovative ideas. And finally, they are self-disciplined and then ambitious. You may use a person which is an entrepreneur and apply these characteristics to them for you to memorize more easily. And for the importance, I want you to note they provide job opportunities. They start a company so that more consumption choices existed, and they contribute the economic growth. Okay, so chapter 1 is for only memorize. Okay, I want you to memorize the characteristics and the importance. Okay, so for chapter 2, accounting equations, what I want you to know is the definition of 3 elements. They are very important in accounting. First, they are asset. The definition is asset are the resources that business owned. And for the capital, they are resources supplied by the owner. And the liabilities are resources supplied by other business. So I want you to memorize the definition of assets, capital, and liabilities. So next we have a MC questions, and it is so important for you to know the transaction, how transaction affecting the assets, capital, and liabilities. And I will explain them one by one. For the first transactions, pay water bills by check. Okay. For a company, we have to pay the water expense. Therefore, if we pay by check, that means our bank account have to pay out some money, and so that our assets they will decrease. So it's correct. And also because the expenses increase and it finally affects our net profit. Expenses increase and our net profit will decrease, and it finally affects our capital. So the capital may decrease. So it's wrong, okay? And for the liabilities, actually is unchanged. So A is wrong. Let's move on to B. Owner injected capital into the business, and the capital increase. Because we inject capital, that means the business will have more capital. And when the owner injected capital into the business, our business assets will also increase because the money will transfer to or add into our bank account. But here there are no effects for the liability, so it's unchanged. So B is wrong. Okay, just like paid money, but here is the purchased a motor van. We pay cash to buy a motor van. So our motor van, we have one new motor van, therefore our asset will increase. And because we used our cash, okay, so that here the asset will unchanged, here should be unchanged, because our asset will increase by buying a motor van. However, our assets will also decrease by paying cash, and so here should be unchanged. So C is wrong. So the finally correct answer should be D. We pay trade payable by check. Decrease, unchanged, decrease. Remember, trade payable is liabilities. Okay, so these are the contents of Chapter 2, Accounting Equation. Okay, Chapter 3, the most important part, I think, is an income statement. So let's see the question. John commenced a firm selling grocery and household products on 1st January 2016. 3 employees were hired for the operation of the firm. The following balances were obtained from his book as at 31st December 2016. So here are some account balance, and the question requires us to do an income statement. So before we do the income statement, let's look at the characteristics of income statement. First is a type of financial statement. is a type of financial statement. Okay, and second, the income statement shows the performance of a business within an accounting period. We can know whether the business has profit or loss. So we also have a name called profit and loss account for the income statement. And we use accounting records to record the transaction and prepare the income statement. So the most important part is income statement is to show profit or loss. Okay, so let's do the income statements together. Firstly, we have to record 3 items: the company or the owner's name, the type of the financial statement, and the date. Okay, and we start. So this is the format of an income statement. So please memorize it. And we start by sales. Okay, sales. And we less returned invoice. Okay, sales are the revenues of sold goods to customer, and return invoice are goods returned by customer. So we have to less to get the net sales, which is 794,400. Then we have to less the cost of goods sold. Here, because the owner, John, just commenced the company, the firm, this year, so we have no opening inventory, and we directly add purchases. And we less the closing return hours, sorry. Less return hours, which is 1,500. And we less closing inventory, which is here, closing inventory. Because we do the income statement for the year ended 31st December 2016, so on that day is the end of the year, so we call closing inventory. So we can have the cost of goods sold, which is 303900, and for the gross profit we just use the net sales less the cost of goods sold. So we have gross profit here, and we add discount received because discount received is revenue. And we less the operating expense. So you may see it's a negative number. So for the negative number, we call net loss. So this is the answer of income statement. So remember, sell less return invoice, and for the cost of goods sold, opening inventory, add purchase less return invoice less closing inventory, and we add discount receipt, which is revenue, and less other expenses, okay, such as operating expense here. And if the numbers are negative number for the last number, we call net loss. If the gross profit plus revenue less expense is positive for the remaining, so we call net profit. Okay, so let's move on to the chapter 4, shares. Okay, so it's easy. Okay, so there are three places we can buy. The first one is bank, second one is security firms, and the third one is mobile app. Okay, apart from the places we can buy shares, I want you to know more about factors that affecting our share price. So the first external factor is the general economic situation. The second one is the industry prospects. And the third one is interest rate. For the internal factors affecting share price, they are company performance and the dividend policy. And I want you to know some risk, market risk, interest rate risk, business risk, and policy risk. So please study it using your notes. And the final chapter is the market research. Firstly, I want you to know more about the characteristics of market research. Market research is systematic. And scientific. Process. Market research is objective and improve our decision making. For the objectives of market research, firstly, they let us understand the needs and expectation of consumer. Thirdly, they acquire existing and potential markets. Acquire existing and potential market information. Thirdly, they understand the products perceptions and finally they determine the performance of the product. You may refer to this from your notes, market research. And I want you to know more about finally is the data, secondary data and primary data. Secondary data are the data that already exist. Primary data is first-hand resources. And for the secondary data, they divided into two kinds of data, which is internal and external. Internal is inside the company, and external is outside the company. So these are the 5 chapters we have covered, we have learned this year, and they are included in examination. So I want you to spend some time to write down by yourself using my video or notes and study it hardly. Okay, so that's the end. Thank you. See you. Bye bye.